The Galaxy Council chamber was the largest room in the known universe. It could hold 10,000 representatives from 1,000 different worlds. Today, every seat was full. Every eye was watching the center platform where history was about to happen. Tovik sat in his assigned seat among the other observers. His blue skin felt cold, which always happened when he was nervous. He had been a council representative for 40 years. He had seen wars begin and end. He had watched empires rise and fall, but he had never seen anything like this. The Valari Empire had just declared war on Earth. Tovik looked at the massive screens that floated above the chamber. They showed the Valari Supreme Commander, a creature of black scales and red eyes. His voice echoed through the room like thunder. "Humans of Earth," the commander said, "you have refused our generous offer. You have rejected peace. Now you will face the consequences. The Valari Empire declares total war on your species. You have 7 days to surrender. If you do not, we will destroy every human in existence." The chamber was silent. Tovik could hear his own heartbeat. He looked around at the other representatives. Many of them were already shaking their heads in sadness. Some were even crying. Everyone knew what this meant. The Valari Empire had never lost a war. They had conquered over 200 worlds in the last 1,000 years. Their fleet was the largest in the galaxy. Their weapons were the most powerful. No species had ever survived their attack. And now they were going after the humans. Tovik felt sorry for them. He had met a few humans over the years. They were strange creatures. Soft bodies. No claws. No scales. No natural weapons at all. They had only been in space for about 300 years. They were young. They were weak. They were going to die. The screens changed. Now, they showed the human response. A woman walked onto a platform somewhere on Earth. She had black hair and calm eyes. A small name appeared below her image, Ambassador Yuna. Tovik leaned forward. He wanted to see how the humans would beg for mercy. He wanted to see their fear. Every species showed fear when the Valari came for them, but Ambassador Yuna did not look afraid. She stood straight. Her hands were relaxed at her sides. When she spoke, her voice was steady and clear. "Supreme Commander," she said, "the people of Earth have received your declaration. We understand your terms. We understand your threats." She paused for a moment. Then she smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible. "We decline your offer of surrender." The chamber erupted in noise. Representatives shouted in confusion. Some laughed nervously. Others called out warnings, trying to tell the humans to reconsider. Tovik sat frozen in his seat. He could not believe what he had just heard. The humans were refusing to surrender? Did they not understand what was coming? Did they not know about the Valari? The Supreme Commander seemed equally surprised. His red eyes narrowed. "You decline? Do you understand what you are saying, human? We will not show mercy. We will not take prisoners. Every man, woman, and child on your planet will die." Ambassador Yuna nodded slowly. "Yes, we understand. We have studied your history. We know what you have done to other worlds." Her smile faded. Her eyes became hard like stone. "We simply do not care." The chamber went silent again. Tovik felt a strange feeling in his stomach. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. This was not how prey acted when facing a predator. "You should care," the Supreme Commander growled. "We are sending 10,000 warships to your system. 10,000. The largest fleet in Valari history. You cannot fight us. You cannot run. You can only die." Ambassador Yuna tilted her head slightly. 10,000 ships? Is that all? Tovik heard someone gasp nearby. He turned and saw a Valari observer, one of the few allowed in the chamber. The observer's face had gone pale. His hands were shaking. "She is mad," the Valari whispered. "The human is completely mad." Tovik looked back at the screen. Ambassador Yuna was still standing calmly, still showing no fear. Let me be clear, she said. Earth does not want war. We have never wanted war. We came to space looking for friends, not enemies. But if you bring war to our home, we will answer. She took a step forward, closer to the camera. And you will not like our answer. The Supreme Commander laughed. It was a cold, cruel sound. Brave words from a dying species. Enjoy your final days, human. When we arrive, there will be nothing left of your kind but dust. The connection ended. The screens went dark. The chamber exploded with conversation. Representatives talked over each other. Some were already making plans to divide human territory after the extinction. Others were placing bets on how long Earth would last. Most agreed it would be over in less than a day, but Tovik remained silent. He could not stop thinking about the human woman. About her smile. About her eyes. About the way she had spoken. An old friend sat down next to him. Marek was from a world that the Valari had conquered 2 centuries ago. His people now served as slaves in the Empire. Terrible business, Marek said softly. The humans seemed like good people. It is sad that they chose death over submission. Tovik nodded slowly. Yes, very sad. But even as he spoke, doubt filled his mind. He had seen many species face the Valari. He had seen them beg. He had seen them cry. He had seen them try to run. He had never seen one smile. Marek, Tovik said quietly. What do we actually know about humans? Marek shrugged. Not much. They keep to themselves mostly. They have a small military. Maybe a few hundred ships. Nothing special. A few hundred ships, Tovik repeated. And they are facing 10,000. Yes, it is hopeless. Tovik thought about this. He thought about Ambassador Yuna's calm face. About her steady voice. About her strange question. Is that all? What if we are wrong? Tovik whispered. Marek laughed. Wrong about what? The numbers are clear. The Valari cannot lose. The numbers are clear, Tovik agreed. But something else is not. He looked at his old friend. Marek, I have watched 1,000 wars. I have seen the weak and the strong. I know what fear looks like. And that human woman was not afraid. Marek's smile faded. You think they have a secret? Ah, I think, Tovik said slowly, that we are about to learn something new about humans. Something the galaxy has never seen before. Marek looked at the dark screens. I hope you are wrong, my friend, for everyone's sake. Tovik said nothing. He just stared at the place where Ambassador Yuna's face had been. In 7 days, the Valari fleet would reach Earth. In 7 days, the galaxy would have its answer. He had a terrible feeling that the answer would change everything. 7 days passed like a slow nightmare. The Galaxy Council kept their screens locked on the Earth system. Every representative wanted to watch the destruction. Some brought food and drinks, treating it like entertainment. Others sat in sad silence, mourning a species that was not yet dead. Tovik had not slept well during those 7 days. He kept thinking about Ambassador Yuna, about her smile, about her words. He could not shake the feeling that something was very wrong with this war. Now the moment had arrived. The Valari fleet appeared on the edge of the Earth system like a dark cloud. 10,000 ships. Battlecruisers the size of mountains. Destroyers with weapons that could crack planets open. Fighter carriers holding millions of smaller attack craft. It was the largest military force the galaxy had ever seen in one place. The council chamber was packed. Extra screens had been added so everyone could see from every angle. Tovik found a spot near the front. He wanted to see everything clearly. The Valari Supreme Commander appeared on the main screen. He was sitting in his command chair on the flagship. Behind him, officers moved with confident efficiency. They had done this many times before. Humans of Earth, the commander announced. Your time is over. We offered you mercy. You refused. Now witness the power of the Valari Empire. The fleet moved forward. Tovik watched the ships pass the outer planets. They passed the gas giants. They moved closer and closer to Earth's yellow sun. Still, there was no response from the humans. Perhaps they have already fled, Merrick suggested. He was sitting next to Tovik again. Some species try to escape before we arrive. No, Tovik said. Their civilian ships are still in orbit around Earth. They have not evacuated. Then they are paralyzed with fear. It happens sometimes. Tovik shook his head but said nothing. He watched the screens with growing tension. The Valari fleet was now approaching the fourth planet. A red, dusty world that humans called Mars. Still nothing. The Supreme Commander frowned. Scan for their fleet. Where are their defensive ships? A Valari officer checked his instruments. Supreme Commander? We detect approximately 300 human military vessels. They are positioned around the third planet, Earth. 300? The commander laughed. They send 300 ships against our 10,000? Pathetic. Continue forward. Destroy anything that moves. The fleet accelerated. They passed Mars. They approached the asteroid belt. And then, they approached the moon of Earth. Tovik leaned forward. Something was different about the moon. Something wrong. The surface seemed strange. There were lines and shapes that did not look natural. What is that? Someone in the chamber asked. The Supreme Commander noticed it too. Scan that moon. What are those structures? A long pause. The Valari officer's voice was suddenly uncertain. Supreme Commander, the moon appears to be artificial. What? The surface is not rock, it is metal. The entire moon has been converted into some kind of platform. We are detecting massive energy signatures, thousands of them. Before anyone could respond, the moon began to change. Sections of the surface slid apart like doors opening. Panels rotated outward. Weapons platforms rose from beneath. Cannon barrels the size of skyscrapers pointed at the sky. The council chamber went completely silent. Tovik stared at the screen with his mouth open. The humans had turned their moon into a weapon. Not just a weapons station. The entire moon. A fortress bigger than most planets. A human voice came through the communication channel. It was a man this time. Older and harder than Ambassador Yuna. This is General Tejo of Earth Defense Command. You have entered restricted space. You have 10 seconds to reverse course and leave our system. This is your only warning. The Supreme Commander recovered from his shock. His eyes blazed with anger. You think one moon can stop us? We have 10,000 ships. Fire on that structure. Destroy it. The Valari fleet opened fire. Thousands of beams of energy shot toward the moon. They were enough to destroy a planet. Enough to crack a world in half. The beams hit a wall of light, a shield. The energy spread across the invisible barrier and faded away. The moon was untouched. Their shield is holding, a Valari officer reported. His voice was shaking. We cannot penetrate it, General Tejo spoke again. 10 seconds have passed. You chose poorly. The moon fired back. Tovik had seen many weapons in his long life. He had seen planet killers and star burners, but he had never seen anything like this. The moon did not fire beams or missiles. It fired light itself. Pure, white, burning light that moved faster than anything could track. 100 Valari ships vanished in the first second. Not destroyed. Not damaged. They simply stopped existing. The Supreme Commander screamed orders. Evasive action. All ships spread formation. Return fire. But the moon was not done. More weapons activated. Different types. Some shot projectiles that traveled at impossible speeds. Some released swarms of small objects that hunted ships like predators hunting prey. Some created fields of energy that pulled ships together and crushed them. The Valari fleet broke apart. Discipline collapsed. Ships tried to flee in every direction. But there was nowhere to go. And then the human fleet arrived. 300 ships rose from behind Earth. They were smaller than the Valari vessels. Faster. More maneuverable. They dove into the chaos like sharks into bleeding water. The council chamber was in complete panic. Representatives were screaming. Some were trying to contact their home worlds. Others just sat in frozen shock, unable to process what they were seeing. Tovik watched the battle in absolute silence. His mind was completely blank. Everything he knew about the galaxy was falling apart. The screens showed human fighters weaving between Valari battlecruisers. They moved together in perfect coordination, like parts of one creature. Where they passed, Valari ships died. Not slowly, not with struggle. They just died. A Valari destroyer twice the size of the human attackers turned to face them. It fired every weapon it had. The human ships danced around the beams like the weapons were standing still. They returned fire. The destroyer exploded from the inside out. Impossible, Merrick whispered next to Tovik. This is impossible. But it was happening. Right there on the screens. Right in front of everyone. The Supreme Commander's face appeared on a channel. He looked different now. The confidence was gone. In its place was something Tovik had never seen on a Valari face before. Fear. All ships retreat, the commander screamed. Fall back to the edge of the system. Fall back. The surviving Valari ships tried to run, but the human fleet followed them. The moon continued firing. There was no escape. General Tejo's voice came through once more. It was calm, almost bored. You brought war to our home. Did you think we would not be ready? We have been waiting for this day. Waiting and preparing. For 300 years, we have watched the galaxy. We have seen what happens to the weak. His voice hardened. We decided we would not be weak. On the screen, another wave of Valari ships died. This is what humanity looks like when we fight. General Tejo continued. This is what we kept hidden. This is what we hoped we would never need to show. He paused. You should have accepted our friendship instead of demanding our surrender. The battle continued. But it was not really a battle anymore. It was a slaughter. The greatest fleet in Valari history was being torn apart by a species they had dismissed as weak. Tovik finally found his voice. It came out as a whisper. They were never prey, he said to no one in particular. They were never weak. They just let us think they were. On the screens, Earth hung peaceful and blue behind its wall of fire and death. Its moon stood guard like a silent giant. Its ships hunted the invaders without mercy. The galaxy was watching, and the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. The screens went dark. For 5 terrible seconds, the council chamber saw nothing, just black emptiness where the battle had been. Representatives cried out in confusion. Some demanded to know what happened. Others accused the Valari of sabotaging the feed. Tovik gripped the arms of his chair so hard his blue fingers turned pale. His heart pounded in his chest. What was happening out there? What were the humans doing? Get the signal back, someone shouted. We need to see. Technical officers scrambled at their stations. They tried different frequencies, different satellites, different angles. Nothing worked. The Earth system had become invisible to the rest of the galaxy. Minutes passed like hours. Tovik could hear his own breathing. The chamber that usually buzzed with 1,000 conversations was silent. Everyone was waiting. Everyone was afraid. Then the screens flickered. Static filled the images. Broken sounds came through the speakers. And slowly, piece by piece, the picture returned. Tovik wished it had stayed dark. The Valari fleet was gone. Not retreating. Not damaged. Gone. Where 10,000 warships had flown, there was now only debris. Broken metal, spinning in the void, frozen bodies drifting between shattered hulls, escape pods floating like small lights in an ocean of destruction. 3,000 ships had been destroyed in just minutes. 3,000 of the most powerful vessels in the galaxy, reduced to garbage floating in space. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives screamed. Some ran for the exits. Others collapsed in their seats, unable to move. A few simply stared at the screens with empty eyes, their minds refusing to accept what they saw. Tovik remained perfectly still. He watched the debris field expand slowly. He counted the Valari escape pods. There were not many. Most of the crews had died with their ships. "This cannot be real," Mirak said next to him. His voice was barely a whisper. "The Valari have never lost a battle. Never. Not in 1,000 years. "They have now," Tovik replied. A Valari observer in the corner of the chamber let out a terrible sound. It was something between a scream and a sob. Other representatives moved away from him, as if his people's defeat might be contagious. The screens showed more now. The human fleet was moving through the debris field. They were not celebrating. They were not shouting victory calls. They moved in calm, organized patterns, checking wreckage and collecting escape pods. One human ship stopped near a damaged Valari cruiser. The cruiser was cracked open like an egg. Its power was failing. Its weapons were dark. Inside, Tovik could see movement. Survivors. The human ship extended some kind of arm toward the cruiser. A boarding tube connected the two vessels. Human soldiers entered the Valari ship. "They are taking prisoners," Tovik said with surprise. This was unexpected. In Galactic War, prisoners were rare. Most species killed their enemies completely. The Valari certainly did. They never allowed survivors from the races they conquered. But the humans were gathering the wounded, carrying the injured to their own ships, providing medical care to creatures who had come to destroy them. "Why would they save their enemies?" Mirak asked. Tovik shook his head slowly. "I do not know. Humans are strange." The Supreme Commander appeared on a damaged screen. He was bleeding from a wound on his head. His bridge was on fire behind him. Officers lay dead at their stations. Only a handful of crew remained alive. "This is Supreme Commander Vorth of the Valari Empire," he said. His voice was rough with pain. "I am calling for a ceasefire. We request terms of surrender." Silence. Then General Tejo's voice came through. "Surrender is accepted. Power down all weapons. Stand by for boarding parties. Any resistance will be met with immediate destruction." The commander closed his eyes. In that moment, he looked like a creature who had aged 100 years. "Understood. All surviving Valari ships, this is your commander. Stand down. The battle is over." Tovik felt something strange in his chest. It took him a moment to recognize it as hope. The war was ending. The destruction would stop. Perhaps something could be saved from this disaster. But then another voice came through the communication channel. It was not General Tejo. It was someone new. A woman with a cold, sharp voice. "General, this is Captain Hana of the 3rd Pursuit Squadron. We have ships attempting to flee toward the outer system. Approximately 400 vessels. They are not responding to surrender orders. The remaining Valari ships were trying to escape. They had not heard the commander's order, or they had chosen to ignore it. They were running toward the edge of the solar system, hoping to reach safe jumping distance." General Tejo's response was immediate. "Captain Hana, you are authorized to pursue. Do not allow any hostile vessels to leave the system." "Understood, General. Beginning pursuit now." The screens shifted to show Captain Hana's squadron. 50 human ships broke away from the main fleet. They accelerated toward the fleeing Valari with impossible speed. Tovik watched them go. The human ships were beautiful in a terrible way. They moved like predators, like hunters chasing wounded prey across an open field. "They are going after them," Merrick said. "But why? The battle is won. They could let the survivors flee. Could they?" Tovik asked. "If those ships escape, they will return to Valari space. They will tell everyone what happened here. They will bring back a larger fleet. So the humans will kill them all? To keep their victory secret?" Tovik considered this. But something felt wrong about that explanation. The humans had just shown mercy to the commander. They were rescuing survivors from the debris. Why would they hunt down the fleeing ships so ruthlessly? Unless mercy was not the point. "I do not think they want to keep it secret," Tovik said slowly. "I think they want witnesses." Merrick looked confused. "Witnesses to what? To what happens when you attack Earth? To what happens when you underestimate humans?" Tovik pointed at the screen. Those fleeing ships are not escaping. They are being herded. The humans are choosing who lives and who dies. On the screen, Captain Hana's squadron caught up to the slowest Valari ships. Her fighters did not simply destroy them. They disabled engines, cut off escape routes, forced the damaged vessels to group together. Then the human ships formed a ring around the Valari survivors. Weapons powered up, every barrel aimed at the helpless enemy vessels. Captain Hana's voice came through clearly. "Attention, Valari fleet. This is Captain Hana of the Earth Defense Force. You have two choices. Surrender now and live. Continue running and die. You have 30 seconds to decide. 20 seconds of silence." Then, one by one, the Valari ships powered down their engines. Their weapons went dark. Escape pods began to launch, carrying crews who had given up all hope of victory. "Surrender accepted," Captain Hana said. "Remain in position. Rescue ships are on their way." The hunt was over. The surviving Valari drifted in space, surrounded by human predators, waiting to be collected like fish in a net. Back in the council chamber, no one spoke for a long time. The screens showed the aftermath of the battle. Human ships moved through fields of debris. Medical vessels arrived to treat wounded prisoners. Military vessels stood guard over captured crews. It was efficient, professional, almost gentle. And that, Tovik realized, was the most terrifying part. The humans had crushed the greatest fleet in the galaxy. They had done it in less than an hour. They had used weapons no one had ever seen before. And through it all, they had remained calm, controlled. They had not fought with rage or desperation. They had fought like this was normal. "What are they?" a representative whispered somewhere in the chamber. "What kind of creatures can do this?" Tovik thought about the question. He thought about Ambassador Yuna's smile, about General Tejo's steady voice, about Captain Hana's cold efficiency. He thought about all the years humans had spent quietly trading in the galaxy, never causing trouble, never showing strength, just watching, waiting, preparing. "They are survivors," Tovik finally answered. "Whatever made them, wherever they came from, humans learned to survive. And now we know what that means." The screens continued to show human ships moving through the aftermath of battle, saving enemies, collecting prisoners, turning destruction into order. Earth hung in the background, peaceful and blue. Its moon stood silent guard. Its fleet patrolled the void like shepherds watching over fallen wolves. The galaxy was watching, and the galaxy was finally afraid. Captain Hana stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Silent Storm. Through the main window, she could see the edge of the Earth's solar system falling behind. Stars stretched ahead like scattered diamonds on black cloth. Somewhere in that darkness, Valari ships were running. "Status report," she said. Her voice was quiet but carried through the entire bridge. Her first officer, a young man named Do-hyun, checked his screens. "We have confirmed 117 Valari vessels attempting to flee toward their home space. Current speed is maximum for their engine type. Estimated time to safe jumping distance is 4 hours." Hana nodded slowly. "And our speed? 3 times faster than theirs, Captain. We can intercept in 45 minutes. The crew waited for orders. They had just fought the biggest battle in human history. They had won completely. They had captured thousands of enemy soldiers and destroyed the greatest fleet the galaxy had ever seen. Now they were chasing the survivors into deep space. None of them questioned why. They trusted their captain." Hana looked at the star map floating in front of her chair. Red dots marked the fleeing Valari ships. Blue dots marked her own squadron. The red dots were moving fast, but not fast enough. They would never reach safety. "Open a channel to all pursuing ships," Hana ordered. "Channel open, Captain. All units, this is Captain Hana. Our mission is simple. Not a single enemy vessel crosses into Valari space. We will give them chances to surrender. We will rescue any who accept, but those who continue running will be stopped." She paused. "Is that clear?" Voices came back from 50 ships. "Yes, Captain." Understood. Ready to hunt. Hana closed the channel. She settled back in her chair and watched the stars pass by. Do-hyun moved closer to her station. Captain, may I ask a question? Go ahead. Why are we chasing them? The battle is won. Earth is safe. These ships cannot hurt us anymore. Hana was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke. When I was young, my grandmother told me stories about our history, about times when our people faced enemies who wanted to destroy us. Sometimes we won those battles. Sometimes we lost. But she taught me one important lesson. What lesson, Captain? If you defeat an enemy once, they might come back. If you defeat them completely, if you show them that running is impossible and fighting is hopeless, they learn a different lesson. Hana's eyes were cold. They learn never to try again. Do-hyun thought about this. So, we are not just winning a battle. We are preventing future wars. Exactly. Every Valari who escapes today will tell stories. They will say humans can be outrun. They will say with enough ships, with enough weapons, Earth can be conquered. Hana shook her head. We cannot allow those stories. We need different stories. Stories about what happens when you attack our home. The silent storm flew deeper into space. The Valari ships grew closer on the screens. Their heat signatures glowed bright as their engines burned at maximum power. They were running as fast as they could. It was not enough. Captain, we are entering communication range, Do-hyun reported. Open a channel to the fleeing ships. Channel open. Hana stood up from her chair. She straightened her uniform. When she spoke, her voice was broadcast to every Valari vessel in the void. Attention, Valari fleet. This is Captain Hana of the Earth Defense Force. You are attempting to flee from the battle zone. This is not permitted. Static crackled. Then a Valari voice responded. It was shaking with fear. Earth vessels. We have surrendered. We are not fighting. We are only trying to go home. You have not surrendered to me, Hana replied calmly. You are still running. Stop your engines. Power down your weapons. Accept our boarding parties. Do this, and you will live. A long silence. Then another voice, angrier than the first. We will not surrender to humans. We are Valari. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. You cannot. Hana cut him off. You conquered nothing today. You lost everything. Your fleet is destroyed. Your commander is our prisoner. And now you are alone in the dark with us. More silence. The Valari ships kept running. Hana sat back down. They are not stopping. Do-hyun nodded. Orders, Captain? We continue the pursuit. When we reach firing range, disable the largest ships first. Give the smaller ones time to reconsider. The next 20 minutes passed in tense quiet. The human squadron closed the gap between themselves and the fleeing enemy. Mile by mile. Second by second, the red dots and blue dots on the map moved closer together. Entering weapons range, Do-hyun announced. Target the 3 battle cruisers in the lead, Hana ordered. Disable their engines. Do not destroy them unless they resist. The silent storm fired. The beam was precise. It struck the first battlecruiser exactly where the engine connected to the hull. The massive ship shuddered and went dark. It began to drift. The second and third battlecruisers tried to turn and fight. Their weapons powered up. They pointed their cannons at the approaching humans. They never got a chance to fire. 2 more beams hit them. Their engines died. Their weapons went offline. In seconds, 3 of the largest Valari vessels became helpless, floating boxes in empty space. The rest of the fleeing ships began to panic. Some tried to scatter in different directions. Some tried to hide behind the disabled battlecruisers. Some finally began to power down their engines. Multiple ships surrendering, Do-hyun reported. 32, 47, 61 vessels coming to a stop. And the others? 56 still running, Captain. They are spreading out, trying to find gaps in our formation. Hana studied the map. The running ships were desperate now. They knew they could not fight. They knew they could not escape, but they kept running anyway. Terror had taken control of their actions. All units, spread formation, Hana ordered. Cut off their escape routes. Herd them back toward the surrendered ships. I want everyone gathered in one place. The human squadron expanded like a net. Ships moved to block every possible path. The fleeing Valari found themselves pushed, guided, controlled. No matter which direction they turned, human weapons pointed at them. One by one, they gave up. Engines died. Weapons powered down. The last Valari vessels joined their captured comrades, floating helplessly in space. All enemy ships accounted for, Do-hyun said. 117 vessels, all disabled or surrendered. Hana allowed herself a small moment of satisfaction. Then she stood again. Open a channel to all captured ships. Channel open, Captain. Valari survivors, listen carefully. You are now prisoners of the Earth Defense Force. You will be treated fairly. You will receive medical care. You will not be harmed unless you resist. Her voice hardened. But understand this. You came to destroy our world. You came to kill our families. You came with the largest fleet your empire has ever assembled. And you lost. Completely. Absolutely. Without question. She paused to let the words settle. When you return to Valari space, and we will let you return eventually, remember what happened here. Remember how easily we destroyed you. Remember that we showed you mercy when you would have shown us none. Her eyes swept across the stars outside her window. And remember this, most of all. We were not trying our hardest today. This was not our full strength. This was just what we keep near our home. The channel closed. The Valari survivors had nothing to say. Do-hyun looked at his captain with something like awe. Will they believe you? About not using our full strength? Hana shrugged slightly. It does not matter if they believe. What matters is that they wonder. What matters is that every Valari who hears this story will ask themselves, if that was not everything, what else do the humans have? She returned to her chair and watched as rescue ships from Earth began to arrive. They would collect the prisoners. They would repair the damaged vessels. They would turn this scene of potential slaughter into an orderly gathering of survivors. That was the human way. Win completely. Then, show mercy. Leave your enemies alive to tell stories. Make sure those stories serve your purpose. The galaxy was about to learn that humans were not just dangerous in battle. They were dangerous in the peace that followed. Captain Hana watched the rescue operations begin. Her job was done. Earth was safe. The message was sent. Now it was time for the politicians to finish what the military had started. The Galaxy Council chamber was different now. 2 weeks had passed since the Battle of Earth. In that time, the galaxy had changed forever. News of the Valari defeat spread across every world, through every communication network, into every corner of known space. The greatest military power in history had been crushed by a species most beings considered weak. Now the council was gathering again. But this time, the mood was very different. Tovik took his usual seat among the observers. He noticed that many representatives had moved their chairs. They had shifted positions so they could see the entrance door more clearly. Everyone was waiting for the same person. Ambassador Yuna was coming back. The chamber slowly filled with representatives from 1,000 worlds. Tovik watched them arrive. He saw fear in many faces. Others showed curiosity. A few showed respect that had not existed before. The Valari observer section was empty. Their representatives had not returned since the battle. No one knew if they ever would. Merak sat down next to Tovik. His old friend looked tired but excited. Have you heard the news? The Valari Empire has recalled all military forces to their home territory. Every fleet, every soldier, they are pulling back completely. Tovik nodded. I heard. They are afraid Earth will come for them. Will the humans do that? Will they attack Valari space? I do not know, Tovik admitted. And that is the problem. No one knows what humans will do now. That makes everyone nervous. The main doors of the chamber opened. Silence fell like a heavy blanket over the room. Ambassador Yuna walked in. She looked exactly the same as before. Calm face, steady eyes, simple clothing. She walked at an easy pace, not rushing, not hesitating. Behind her came two human guards. They were large and moved with dangerous grace. Their eyes swept the room constantly, watching for threats. The council president, a tall being with silver skin and 4 arms, rose from his central platform. His voice echoed through the chamber. Ambassador Yuna of Earth. The Galaxy Council welcomes you. We wish to discuss the recent events in your system and their meaning for galactic peace. Yuna reached the speaker's platform in the center of the room. She stepped up onto it with perfect poise. When she turned to face the assembled representatives, her expression was pleasant and open. Thank you, President Kavos. I am happy to be here. Earth values its relationships with all peaceful species in the galaxy. Peaceful species. Tovik noticed how she emphasized those words. Several representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. President Kavos continued. The Council has reviewed the recordings of the battle in your system. We have many questions. But first, we must address the matter of the Valari Empire. They have filed a formal complaint against Earth for unprovoked aggression. Silence. Then Yuna did something unexpected. She laughed. It was a soft laugh, polite and gentle, but it carried through the entire chamber. Unprovoked aggression. They declared war on us. They sent 10,000 warships to destroy our civilization. They announced their intention to kill every human alive. And they accuse us of aggression? President Kavos looked uncomfortable. The Valari claim that your defensive response was disproportionate. They say you used weapons that violate galactic conventions. Which conventions? Yuna asked calmly. They did not specify. Of course they did not. Because no such conventions exist. The galaxy has always operated on simple rules. The strong survive, and the weak serve or die. We simply showed that we are not weak. Another representative stood up. He was from a species Tovik did not recognize. Ambassador Yuna. With respect, your people have hidden your military strength for 300 years. You pretended to be a minor power. You deceived the entire galaxy. How can we trust you now? Yuna turned to face the speaker directly. We did not deceive anyone. We simply did not show everything we had. Does every species reveal their full capabilities to strangers they just met? We joined galactic society as newcomers. We watched. We learned. We saw what happened to species that appeared strong before they could defend themselves. She paused. We chose a different path. The chamber buzzed with whispered conversations. Tovik leaned forward, fascinated by the ambassador's skill. She was not apologizing. She was not defending. She was teaching. President Kavos raised his hands for silence. Ambassador, the Council has one primary concern. What are Earth's intentions now? Will you seek revenge against the Valari? Will you expand your territory? Will you threaten other species who have not attacked you? Yuna considered the question carefully before answering. Earth wants peace. That has always been true. We came to space, hoping to find friends and trading partners. We hoped the galaxy would be welcoming. Instead, we found predators everywhere, species that conquered and enslaved, empires built on cruelty. She shook her head slowly. We could not change the galaxy, so we prepared to survive in it. She walked slowly across the platform, letting her eyes move across the assembled representatives. Now things are different. The galaxy has seen what happens when you attack Earth. We hope that knowledge will prevent future wars. We have no desire to conquer anyone. We have no interest in taking territory. We only want to be left alone to grow and thrive in peace. And if someone else attacks you? A representative called out. Yuna's pleasant expression did not change, but something cold entered her eyes. Then they will learn the same lesson the Valari learned. We will defend ourselves without limit. We will pursue our enemies without mercy, and we will make sure the galaxy never forgets what happened to them. The chamber was absolutely silent. Tovik understood now. The humans were not threatening anyone. They were making a promise. Attack us and die. Leave us alone and prosper. The choice was clear. President Kavos cleared his throat. Are there any other declarations the Council should be aware of? Any other grievances or conflicts that require attention? Yuna smiled. It was the same smile Tovik remembered from the day the Valari declared war. Calm. Confident. Knowing. Any other declarations? She repeated softly. She looked around the chamber at the representatives of 1,000 worlds. No, President Kavos. Earth has no complaints to bring before this council. We are satisfied with the current state of affairs. She paused, letting the silence stretch. But I wonder if anyone else has declarations. Any other empires who wish to test their strength against Earth? Any other species who believe they can succeed where the Valari failed? Her eyes moved from face to face. No one met her gaze. This seems like a good time to speak up. We are all here together. If anyone has concerns about Earth, please share them now. No one spoke. No one moved. The most powerful beings in the galaxy sat in their seats like frightened children. Yuna's smile widened slightly. I thought not. She stepped down from the platform and walked toward the exit. Her guards fell in behind her. The chamber remained silent until the doors closed behind her. Then everyone started talking at once. Tovik sat back in his chair. He felt exhausted, as if he had run a great distance. But he also felt something else. Something strange and unexpected. Relief. For centuries, the galaxy had been ruled by fear. The strong crushed the weak. Empires rose and fell through violence. Every species lived in terror of the next conqueror, but now there was something new. A species that could not be conquered. A species that wanted peace, but could enforce it. A species that would defend the weak if it served their interests. Merak turned to him with wide eyes. What just happened? Tovik smiled slowly. The galaxy has a new guardian. Whether we wanted one or not. And that is a good thing? Tovik thought about the Valari. About the slaves they had taken. About the worlds they had destroyed. About the million cruelties they had committed in the name of strength. Yes, he said finally. I think it might be. Outside the chamber, Ambassador Yuna walked through the halls of the council station. Her guards moved silently beside her. Officials from various species stepped aside as she passed, bowing or nodding with new respect. She activated a small communication device on her wrist. General Tejo's voice came through. Ambassador. How did it go? As expected, Yuna replied. They are afraid of us now. And what comes next? Yuna looked out a window at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, Earth was waiting. Her home. Her people. The civilization that had pretended to be weak while building strength beyond imagination. Now we wait, she said. We trade. We grow. We make friends with those who deserve friendship. And we show the galaxy that humans can be trusted. She smiled to herself. As long as no one gives us a reason not to be. The communication ended. Ambassador Yuna continued walking toward her ship. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Earth was safe. And humanity's place among the stars was finally secure, for now.